Today we're talking about one of the most impressive seductresses of all time, okay? This lady had Julius Caesar on ropes.
Who are you, Cleopatra? Are you someone I can trust?
I am Egypt.
When Julius Caesar got assassinated, she swiftly moved on to the next most powerful man in Rome, Mark Antony. Okay, and then when Mark Antony fell on his sword and died, she tried to negotiate a deal with Octavian, who was in charge of Rome after Julius Caesar. Okay, Cleopatra always got her way with men. And you know what's more impressive about how she always got her way with men? It was written at the time, about 2060 years ago, that Cleopatra wasn't actually very good looking. Okay, she wasn't known for being strikingly attractive, and there were coins that were made out of her image, and yeah, she don't bang too much, okay? But that's besides the point. That's besides the point, okay? Because the fact that she got what she wanted despite not being the best looking gives all of us not amazing looking people hope, because we can learn from what Cleopatra done. Now, Cleopatra's specific seductive type was known as the siren, and the siren is someone who is very aware that they have an alluring sexual vibe, okay? Now, Robert Greene talks about Cleopatra, and he says that what she'd done to seduce these men so well is she would show affection, and she would dress very well, okay? Because she wasn't that attractive, and I'm sorry to keep going on about the fact she wasn't that attractive, but again, it gives all of us hope, because not everyone is born being super attractive, okay? She would get Julius Caesar to a point where he wanted her so badly, and then she would pull back. Then she didn't let him pull back. Then she didn't let him lose hope. She would dangle it in front of him again. Julius Caesar, like a dog, yeah, would run up to her, like his tongue all out, and she'd be like, "Here's a treat, but you're getting half the treat." Snap it in half, give it to him, and then he's hungry for more. She always kept Julius Caesar on his toes. Okay, when Julius Caesar got assassinated, she got Mark Antony by dressing as Aphrodite. Okay, and during a dinner party, she was very intelligent. She said, "Do you want to bet that I can consume 100 million of whatever their currency was worth of stuff in this dinner?" He said, "That's impossible. You can't possibly do that." She took one of her pearls, she took it off, she dipped it in, she put it in a glass of vinegar, swirled it round, waited for it to dissolve, poured it into her drink, and drank it. So she was very theatrical. She was very intelligent. She was very persuasive. She had a very alluring vibe to her.
Well versed in the natural sciences and mathematics. She speaks 7 languages proficiently. Were she not a woman, one would consider her to be an intellectual.
Okay, and when Robert Greene talks about Cleopatra in his book, The Art of Seduction, she appeared to be an object of desire. Then when Julius Caesar wanted her, she would slightly pull back. She would use words to sow confusion, okay? She would say what he wanted to hear, but then sometimes act in a different way. And this mixed signal would get Julius Caesar to think more, because he's not used to that as a king, as someone who's very powerful. Someone who's very powerful, he doesn't normally have to go through things like this, right? People are normally bowing down to him. So she also mastered the skill of insinuation. She would say things and insinuate things, right? So she would seduce him by insinuating she was interested in certain things, by insinuating she wanted to do certain things with him, but never actually saying it, right? Because if she just went and outright said it, Julius Caesar would obtain what he wanted from her, right? He would at least know, okay, she wants this from me. But with the fact that she insinuated it gave him more to think about. Again, the more time you can occupy in someone's brain, the easier it is to seduce them, because seduction is literally the process of someone thinking about you in a sexual manner. Okay, and if you give them what they want, and if you don't make it a challenge and you don't make it a process, there is less time involved in them thinking about it, and therefore, and that's where Cleopatra was quite flawed. Okay, because she wasn't complete without a powerful man by her side. Okay, now whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, you should be complete without having someone else around, okay? And that's where Cleopatra went wrong, because when Julius Caesar got assassinated, she was lost, hopeless. She ran to Mark Antony. When Mark Antony killed himself because Octavian, the emperor of Rome, was coming after him, she was left with nothing, right? She had to commit suicide by letting a snake bite her, okay? So without her man, Cleopatra was nothing. Although very, very powerful in her ability to seduce, The premise where she was coming from to seduce was to complete herself. And I think that was massively flawed. Okay, so we can learn from Cleopatra's ability to seduce, but where we should not learn from Cleopatra and use Cleopatra as an example is her requirement to have a powerful man by her side.